I believe Ariana shouldn't return to VPR. My feelings on this come from a place of deep admiration. As someone who's followed VPR and Love Island, seeing her host Love Island is mind-blowing, especially as a longtime fan from before the Scandoval era. Her growth has been remarkable. Last season was tough for everyone, and it's clear she's outgrown the show and is thriving independently. She looks stunning, sounds incredible, and truly deserves to move on. I sincerely hope she isn't pulled back into VPR. It'll certainly be a change without her, but she deserves it. I'm rooting for them to let her continue her journey and allow us to witness the drama unfold among the others. Yes, it's a paycheck. Her personal life and struggles have already been heavily scrutinized, and there may not be much new ground to cover. Walking away from such a stable income would be a mistake. I've been in jobs I disliked and toxic environments, nowhere near the pay she receives. She should stay and secure as many paychecks as possible until it makes sense to move on. It feels like we've seen everything possible with this group. Even Lisa has moved on to new ventures. Ariana is excelling on Love Island, and I agree she shouldn't return to VPR. It's time to move forward. She clearly has a strong team supporting her, allowing her to thrive. Given the legal challenges she's facing, it might not be easy for her to walk away right now. My hope is for whatever allows her to continue succeeding. Hopefully, VPR has learned from last season's viewer reactions. In any case, I wish her and Katie all the best. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, Spill Chronicles. It's me, Ramona here. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Keep watching, so let's dive into today's video. Additionally, I was thinking about why Ariana is so loved. Just being cheated on typically doesn't earn you the level of fame and admiration that Ariana has garnered. Many people on Bravo have faced infidelity. What sets Ariana apart, and this might be obvious, is that she walked away. Many women might make excuses, try to reconcile, or save face, but she didn't tolerate any of it the moment it happened. I think many of us hope we'd react similarly if faced with a similar situation. A lot of people found catharsis in seeing her visibly angry. Many of us have been in situations where we wanted to scream at a partner who messed up and expose them to the world, and Ariana got to do just that. She didn't take the high road, and I mean that in a positive way. She could have remained silent and tried to save face, but instead, she came out guns blazing, and people, myself included, admire her for it. She embodies the revenge fantasy every wronged woman has ever imagined. And it's not just the new career opportunities, it's also the overwhelming public support she received. When I was younger, I had a Zayn Dival in Ken's accent, please, and everyone sided with him. It's incredibly validating to see that the majority of people now recognize that he actually sucked. A lot of Ariana's admiration stems from her final talk with Sandoval. She opened with "For you to die" and closed with "Anything else you want to say before we never speak again." In between, she cycled through every emotion anyone's ever felt during a breakup: anger, hatred, love, cruelty, heartbreak, feeling foolish for ever loving him, questioning what she did wrong, what she didn't do, what could have saved them, and saying "fuck him." She was brutally honest and vulnerable, all without blaming Raquel. It's hard not to relate to her. I also appreciated how Ariana was kind to many of the underdogs and newcomers on the show. She was always welcoming and inclusive. Her allyship with the LGBT+ community and her respect and openness towards Billie Lee stood out. She's been loyal to friends like Sheena, even when it wasn't easy. Her relatability and vulnerability endeared her to many. So when she was betrayed by her longtime boyfriend, someone she had defended season after season, a lot of people were disgusted and rallied around her. I think it's because she's an example of when preparation meets opportunity. She's honed her skills her whole life, and if not for her string of terrible boyfriends in her 20s and 30s, she might have achieved this career success earlier. Secondly, like many of us who've been betrayed by long-term partners, she sought therapy and shifted her focus away from male-centric aspects of her life. She's not feeding into relationship anxiety and has redirected her energy towards her talents. Lastly, I swear a coven must have cast a spell on Sandoval for him to see her face and hear her name every day until he truly wakes up to the pain he's caused with his narcissistic ways. Moreover, the court case today focused on two critical questions: whether the illicit videos were shared with others, and whether Maddox had permission to access Sandoval's phone. Maddox has previously known Sandoval's passcodes and claimed she had permission to look through his phone in the past. However, during this specific instance, she indicated she went to the bathroom to view the phone. Judge Crowley noted, "That suggests she acknowledges that in this particular instance, she did not have his knowledge and consent." Sussman argued against presuming lack of authorization, stating it was premature. Judge Crowley stated he would decide on the anti-SLAPP motion by the end of the day. Additional updates from Catertega 118 reveal that the motion has been denied, with a court date estimated for November 3, 2025. The reason cited was the alleged illegal nature of the conduct, which is not protected under the First Amendment or anti-SLAPP statutes. There has been disappointment expressed regarding personal attacks among commenters. Many in the subreddit are interested in the legal developments and wish to discuss the various perspectives. While I personally don't have strong feelings about Ariana, I can empathize with the challenging situation she's facing. It's unimaginable to have someone you trusted betray you in such a manner and then face legal action. I do want to clarify that my initial tone may have seemed harsh. I don't have any animosity towards Ariana. However, I do find the echo chamber of unwavering support for Ariana and Katie in these discussions to be overwhelming at times. Ariana herself seems like a genuinely nice person. While I'm not a legal expert, it does seem reasonable that someone in a relationship would know their partner's passcodes and have access to their phone, especially in a public setting like the one described. On the other hand, we are still awaiting further details from the LA County Court site. Please approach discussions regarding all parties involved in the case and members of this community with sensitivity. It's heartening to hear that Katie is currently with Ariana and Fiji. From multiple direct messages. I will be surprised if Raquel continues her podcast after this, although she has surprised me before, obviously. As the case progresses into discovery, it's likely that the entire production team and cast of VPR will be deposed. It's hard to imagine the show continuing under these circumstances. While I can't think of another reality show comparable to this situation, maybe The Duggars, others who follow more shows might have insights. I feel for Ariana. This should be a joyful and exciting time in her life, yet she's still dealing with the weight of this situation, that house, that person, and Raquel. I went through a tough divorce and legal battle myself, and even when you're doing your best, it's always there. Every time you check your mailbox, email, phone, or receive a text, it's a reminder. And mine wasn't even public like this. It seemed predictable after Sandoval's attempt to dismiss the case. The judge essentially indicated that if the statute could apply to what Tom did, then the allegations against Ariana also fit. Tom might potentially help Ariana by confirming he gave her permission to view the video, but I doubt he will. Someone mentioned that Tom's defense against distributing the video would likely require him to claim Ariana didn't have permission to view it, so he probably won't support her. This situation is frustrating. Ultimately, the video was shared with two people who already knew its contents, so this lawsuit may amount to very little. Now, Ariana faces the choice of paying off her former friend who betrayed her with her life partner for almost a year, or paying lawyers to fight this for another year and a half. However, Jax was upfront with Brittany, please be kind. Let's be clear, Jax has always been and will always be a piece of work. That's undeniable. However, despite his love-bombing tendencies and his habit of telling people what they want to hear during tough times, from the moment Brittany arrived from Kentucky, he repeatedly expressed that things were moving too fast and he felt overwhelmed. His subsequent destructive behavior only reinforced his discomfort. Even if he showered her with affection off-camera, Brittany witnessed his disrespectful actions on the show, like flirting with Lala and lying about it, which understandably hurt her deeply right from her first season. Fast forward to his cheating with Faith. Did we ever see him genuinely ask for forgiveness from Brittany? Did he ever express a desire to reconcile and mend things? He often seemed remorseful after his cheating scandals, but Bravo's narrative mostly portrayed him as lost, confused, and unable to be a good partner. Yet, the spotlight often shifted to a sorrowful Brittany and her supportive circle, while his behavior was sometimes downplayed by fellow men. Finally, by the end of Season 6, albeit clumsily, Jax found the courage to admit to Brittany that he couldn't be the person she deserved. In a vulnerable moment, he broke up with her in their bed after a summer of struggling to articulate, "I'm not a good person. I need to be alone and work on myself. You deserve better." Sadly, his admission was overshadowed by his regrettable actions earlier that day and his inconsistent attempts at personal growth. Despite his flaws, it should be acknowledged that Jax, in addition to being a mess, is human and grappling with his own demons. While all the VPR women have faced challenges with their partners, there's a need for accountability in their choices to stay with these men despite repeated red flags. When Jax broke up with Brittany and declared his need to focus on self-improvement, it seemed like a moment of maturity and self-awareness. It's unfortunate he didn't stick to it. Personally, I felt Brittany's reaction, feeling offended and wanting to see herself as the bigger person who would end things, seemed somewhat immature. It's also worth noting that her motivation to stay with him, at least in part, was likely influenced by the show's dynamics. Please understand, I'm not excusing Jax's behavior, but rather trying to see the complexity in his actions and their impact on those around him. Additionally, something about her Season 10 party. Every time I revisit this season, I find myself filled with anger, particularly watching the episode where attacks were directed at Katie. Schwartz stands out to me the most. He infuriates me more than any other man on this show. It's because there are so many guys like him out there that we tend to overlook. I've never encountered someone so utterly spineless. His goofy persona just grates on my nerves. What infuriates me the most is his genuine belief that as long as he maintains this carefree, lighthearted image, he can never be held accountable for his actions. Only Katie dared to confront him. Unbelievable. As for Sandoval and Raquel, absolute demons. How dare they speak to Mrs. Maloney in such a manner, fully aware of their own wrongdoing? They know. Rachel's series of decisions and her refusal to acknowledge them make it impossible for me to accept any so-called apologies from her. While they taunt Katie, they're also actively gaslighting Ariana. This lawsuit is just another step down that same deceitful path. And Raquel's apology to Katie on her podcast, it fell short. It took someone else's question to finally prompt her to address it. Even on a platform where I hoped she could show growth, she revealed her true colors once again, offering yet another apology for her behavior. Maybe Sandoval coached her through it, but her deceitfulness was matched only by her spitefulness and malice. It's a reflection of her character, and a bit of counseling won't change that. It'll take significant time. Rachel pursued James as her first boyfriend, and she actively pursued Tom as well. When it seemed like Tom and Ariana might reconcile around the time Charlotte, the dog, passed away, Rachel made sure to insert herself during Guy's night. During Ariana and Tom's Valentine's Day celebration, just 2 weeks before the affair was discovered, Rachel made sure to invite herself along. The videos of Tom and Ariana supporting Raquel at her adult pageant, where she air surfed, are still out there. It's all incredibly unimaginable. Moreover, as I near the end of my first watch-through of VPR, I can't help but reflect on how many conflicts, choices, and dramas could have been avoided if the cast didn't binge drink so frequently. While I understand that the show thrives on drama and wouldn't be as captivating without it, seeing how alcohol influences their behavior has left a sour taste in my mouth. Does anyone else feel this way? The premise of the show was to depict a group of young servers in their 20s, and as someone who used to bartend, I know it's common for people in that industry to party frequently, especially in Los Angeles. It's also clear that alcohol wasn't the only indulgence on the menu during filming. Reflecting on my own experiences from my 20s, when I worked in bars, binge drinking was a normal part of social life. However, once I left that environment, my own drinking habits became much less frequent, usually reserved for special occasions like birthdays. Interestingly, Katie and Ariana, once they moved away from SUR, are rarely shown engaging in such heavy drinking. So while I understand why binge drinking is portrayed on the show, I can also see why some viewers might find it off-putting, especially when it seems to cross into problematic or addictive behavior. It's common for those in the bar industry to drink more, and considering they're young, attractive people living in LA and on TV, it's no surprise they're not depicted as sober. Personally, I find it relatable to watch people living lifestyles similar to mine at that age, going out and socializing with a drink in hand. However, I respect that others may prefer shows featuring sober lifestyles, like The Duggars, if that's more their speed. Drop your thoughts in the comment section below. Do you agree or disagree? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more updates. Your opinions matter, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you.